What do you think it is that they leave and then they can say, yeah, that played a pivotal role in my life?
Two major components. We're giving them the knowledge and the skills, and we're giving them the belief to tap into that potential, and combining those two things is what makes them successful for the long term. You can give people all the knowledge and skills that you want. If they don't believe that's possible, if they believe it, but they don't have what they need to do
Yeah.
it. So it's really the combination of those things
Yeah.
that I think leads to the success in the long term.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the Age of Jeremy podcast, my podcast about my business adventures and side quests. My name's Jeremy Quintanilla. If you don't know, and I own multiple businesses such as 3T Warrior Academy, Q Financial, Age of Radio, Freedom Insurance, Blockheads, the company that brought you Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. And I'm super excited because this is a first for me. This is the first live, well, I guess it's not live, the first recorded sit down in person with someone that I'm having for my Age of Jeremy Conversations, which is a show where I sit down with business leaders and community leaders and try to have a fun conversation with them and learn about what they have going on. And I'm super excited because I have Annie Landers here with me from Junior Achievement of Arizona, the Chief Operating Officer. Annie, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and I'm excited. I get to be the first.
First,
So if I really mess it up, it's okay.
correct. And if you've ever seen anything that I've ever done, I mess this stuff up constantly. So that's why I'm excited that we're running late for this, that we're having technical difficulties, all kinds of stuff. But I appreciate your patience.
We're flexible. That's what life is, right?
Yeah, yeah. So a few things I want to start with. This Hope shirt that you have is a Junior Achievement shirt.
It is.
It is. When did the line of clothing happen? I feel like when I was
Oh
on the
my gosh.
board, there was never clothes, or they were like super business focused clothes.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You know, I think the brand has been evolving really in the last decade. And so you kind of came in on, or you were on the board maybe on the tail end of we are still professional, right? We're getting everybody ready for the future workforce, and the workforce has changed,
Yeah.
and the way that we show up looks different. And so we launched some shirts probably about 6 years ago, and we've launched several since then. This is my favorite.
So why hope? What is just hope for the future, being better at entrepreneurship, financial literacy, or just hope in general? Like, what was the reason behind hope?
All of it, right? So the reality is that we're preparing students to succeed in work and life. We're setting them up for economic opportunity and economic mobility. And a whole part of that is self-efficacy, the belief that their future can be different than the realities that they're living in today.
Yeah.
So it is about hope. Now, hope is the kind of word that has so many meanings, but at the end of the day, if the students don't have hope in a future, then all of the skills and all of the knowledge goes to waste.
So is there something on the back of it? You don't have to stand up and show the back of it. But, what does it say? Does it say Junior Achievement on the back, or what's it say?
It has a kind of a depiction of everything that we do as an organization, and it talks about the opportunity, it talks about the connections, the education that we give. It really talks about the components that set
Right.
people up for that economic opportunity.
Yeah, perfect. And before I go into some of these questions here, this wall behind us, that you have an old junior, he's not going to show it, but there's an old Junior Achievement up there. This is the Wall of Fame.
Yeah.
And these are signatures from students, from board members. Who signs this wall? And do you still use it?
It's a whole mixture of people. In fact, I'm surprised that you're not on this wall, but it's a whole
Actually,
mixture
I
of
might
people.
be somewhere.
I bet you are if we spend time looking at it. So it's a mixture of people who really are stakeholders who have helped empower JA over the last decade plus. It's just kind of a reminiscent of, it really takes a community. It takes everybody from the business world. It takes everybody from education. It takes everybody from the community to make this happen for our students.
What is the mission that you're trying to accomplish with Junior Achievement for people that are watching this or listening to this? What does Junior Achievement of Arizona do?
We are setting students up in Arizona for that economic opportunity and mobility in the future. We're preparing them to succeed in work and life. We're partnering with schools and organizations and individuals to serve students kindergarten through really early adulthood and giving them the skills and knowledge to be able to step into their potential.
Now, when we're saying adulthood, are we saying like 12th grade? I read somewhere when I was composing something, does it go past 12th grade, or
It
did it try
does.
to and it didn't, or what did?
It does. I will fully confess that we're figuring out who we are in that space. And
Got it.
so JA across the country might look a little bit different
Got it.
in who's serving that adult population. What we're doing here in Arizona is a little bit more contained, and we're still figuring out where is that space. I'll be honest and say there's a lot of people working in the adulthood space, and we want to be really conscious of making sure whatever we do is adding value and not
And
just
like taking away from
not
what's
just
already there.
adding and saturating and making people make decisions around. It's how can we be supportive? So an example of where we may not step into it is, hey, we may partner with the students kindergarten through 12th grade and partner with an organization like a Year Up who's helping them with the director workforce next steps,
Got it.
things like that.
Yeah.
So
So is the whole goal then, like, I know that it's a lot of it's work readiness and entrepreneurship. Do you find that junior achievement focuses more on the work readiness aspect of it when they're getting into college and out of college? Or have you found that there are data points that show that some of these kids go out and become entrepreneurs?
oh my goodness, I would make the case that no other organization in the country or perhaps the world helps people become entrepreneurs
Wow.
in a way that Junior Achievement does. Now, we say that we want to set them up for whatever future they want, whether
Yeah.
that's education or enlistment or straight to employment or to be entrepreneurs. And I know that the skills that we're giving them, the knowledge that we're giving them, really set them up to be successful in all those ways, in
Yeah.
particular entrepreneurship.
That's cool. Now, one of the things that always drove me to Junior Achievement was BizTown.
Hmm.
And so BizTown, there's two of them. I think when I started, there was only one of, when I started getting involved with Junior Achievement, it was
Oh
like
my gosh.
I really started doing Junior Achievement stuff back like in 2002 or something like that.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
But I really got into it in 2012,
Okay.
2014, somewhere
Okay.
around that area. But during that period of time, was there only one BizTown? When did the second one
It would
happen?
have been, so it would have already existed in 2012,
Got it.
but in those early days when you gain familiarity, we would have just been on the cusp of the
Yeah.
second one.
So
So,
yeah, so one of the things that I love about BizTown is it literally just looks like a BizTown.
yeah.
And what's cool about it is like the one that we were able to shoot today has Amazon in it. It has a Fry's.
Hmm.
What else is in the BizTown too? Some of the businesses.
In town too. So,
Because Town 2 is the one that's over here, right? Yeah.
yeah, so we want to make sure that they're exposed to what the community looks like.
Got
So
it.
there's trades exposed in
Yeah.
there. There's Intel in the
Oh, yeah,
advanced
Intel.
manufacturing
Yeah.
space. There is the arts through Gamage.
Oh, ASU Gamage was
There's
it. That's a
also
beautiful one that's in there because it's in the back when you look in. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also non-traditional companies like Mobile Mini, where kids aren't growing up and saying, "Oh, I want to be involved in storage or data centers or things along those lines." But guess what? There's a lot of opportunity in those types of careers, and they get to be entrepreneurs and feel it
Yeah.
out for the day.
Especially data centers. That seems to be a hot topic these days.
Yeah, you maybe didn't see it, but we have Meta in the other shop,
Yeah.
and the reason for that is more about the data centers than it is about any of their products.
Yeah. So when someone comes to BizTown, walk me through a little bit what age range goes through BizTown and what do they do when they're in there?
Yeah, so we serve kindergarten through 12th grade, but for that program in particular, it's predominantly fifth graders and maybe one, give or take a little bit, fourth through sixth grade. We partner with schools from across the state and we give them the preparatory curriculum. It's about 14 hours. The students are being taught the concepts, so it's financial literacy, it's career readiness and exploration, and it's entrepreneurial thinking. They prep those lessons midway through. They actually interview for the jobs that they could have when they
Yeah.
come to BizTown, and then they start creating their business plans. They're applying the theory that they've all been learning these skills and this knowledge. They're putting it into application in their plans, and then they come on site and they're all expecting cardboard cutout pop-ups, and they're all expecting, they have
Yeah.
no idea what they're in
Right.
for.
Well, yeah, because you literally you walk in and it's a town.
Yeah.
Literally. And again, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Is that it's it's like kind of to replicate what's in the community itself.
Yeah.
To give them exposure to that. So do you get to go in there and teach sometimes, or do you not do that anymore as COO or?
Well, truly, it's a loose requirement because everybody wants to do it. We stay plugged into the program,
Got
so
it.
we stay plugged into them. I get to do them. I just did a startup with a school a couple weeks ago in the D-back shop.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite moment is that the kids all start off a little hesitant. I mean, we're essentially making them adults for the day. We're essentially having them put those skills to work, and it's the first time they're practicing it. And to see them start to get through a couple of the steps of their job and
Yeah.
then gain that confidence, and then suddenly they're like, hey, I don't need you anymore. You could do your thing, and that's the dream scenario.
Yeah, that's I've done BizTown only one time.
What?
Yeah, I know. I did it. Well, oddly enough, I did it during a time that my cousin's school was like she teaches, and her school was coming in on that specific day. And at the time, I was a board member, so I got the board member sticker, which was really cute. Or I had like a pin or something that said board member, and so which was cute because her like other teachers thought that I was like important, and I was like, "Well, I'm on the board, yes," but I just thought it was cool.
That is cool.
But you're right because I remember I was in I think I ran the Toyota.
Okay.
Does that still in there? I ran the Toyota one, and you're right. They're very shy at the beginning, but then as they start doing it, they start opening up, and then it just becomes really great.
Okay, so to link it back to hope, right? That's an example of where that self-efficacy comes in, where they start to believe in themselves. And so that's a huge differentiator of junior achievement is the immersive experiential learning that we do really helps them take it from these abstract concepts that they learn in the classroom, they put it into action, and then suddenly a whole new world opens up for them.
Yeah. When you're trying to find the sponsor, what does it look like when like someone's trying to go and find a business to be a part of it? Because it seems, and I could be wrong on this, it seems like there's a lot of larger corporations because obviously there's probably a large donation and they have to upkeep the space themselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there like momentum to try to get smaller businesses to be in here, or do you have a story where there is a small business that's in one of the biz towns that's like not really like a large corporation?
Absolutely. We actually have, when you're in there, you'll see some of the more, what I would consider maybe the kiosk type shops that don't have as big a presence. They are absolutely going to be some of the small businesses. An example I can give you is a company called WebPT.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I mean, very, very profound, super cool model business, probably not unlike yourself, an entrepreneur who really started to change the physical therapy, the infrastructure of what it looks like to provide physical therapy. So that's an example. Mobile Mini is another example where the shops feel really significant and prominent, but they're really just good businesses. Sombreros is another example.
Oh, you have a sombrero? There's a sombreros in here?
Yeah, a family owned, very,
is that
very
in Biz
deeply.
1 or 2?
It's in BizTown 1. I know, but it's an amazing company that has done very well and has so many locations.
Yeah.
But it's still, in the grand scheme of things, a small entrepreneurial
100%.
business that's deeply involved.
I did not know. I love sombreros.
Oh my gosh.
Sombreros, if you see this, hit me up and we'll do some product placement and advertising, and all you have to do is feed me.
Okay, fun fact, they have breakfast burritos now.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure they're freaking amazing.
They are so good.
That's awesome. So with the students that come in here, there seems to be like a mismatch in public schooling systems for schools that have money, schools that some don't have money. Like, how does a school get involved with being into BizTown? And is it focused on schools that are in harder economic areas as opposed to maybe a school that's in a very luxurious area that has lots of donations and lots of parents involved with the schools and, the community?
Sure. If we had the resources, we would serve every single student in Arizona. What is that? 1.3 million students in Arizona, we would serve them all. And along the road to doing that, our resources are constrained, right? We can't do that. And so we have to have a priority focus. We are focused on reaching the students that we think would need us the most, need access to this, need the ability to see their future differently. And so disproportionately, we do serve students that come from under-resourced communities. Oftentimes that might be schools that have a high free and reduced percentage. As you can imagine, having been around for 70 years here in Arizona, we have a lot of legacy partners too. So it's not like 100% of our schools are representative of that population, but we are steadfast that the vast majority of them need to be. And so I think last year, 73% of the students that we served came from under-resourced communities.
Do you find that over I'm sure you collect data on this, but have you seen that the areas that you serve, as your programs are implemented into those communities, that the communities become stronger because they're learning more and they're staying in their community and becoming prosperous? Or is that not a data point that I don't even know how you would track that data point. I'm just thinking about it right now.
No, it would be super fascinating to go back and look. And I will say that in the coming years, I expect that we'd be able to track it more cleanly because we're becoming even more laser focused on who we're serving in terms of as we add new schools on, how are we going to prioritize deepening that impact along that continuum?
Right.
So the schools who come through BizTown, that is just one of the various touch points we can have through that K-12 experience.
Right.
And for example, we're involved in our 3D instructional model in the high school level in 2 high schools in Phoenix Union. So we'll deepen our impact in the schools that are feeding ultimately into
Gotcha.
those schools over time.
Yeah, so BizTown's just one program that you have. So what are some, I know off the top of my head, is Finance Park still around? There's the regular week, like the JA day type of stuff for the regular curriculum in the classrooms. Are there other points that you have? The Finance Park, what are some of those look like?
Yeah, so in all of our program areas, you're kind of touching on, there's an experiential learning nature, there's leveraging, bringing the business community into the learning environment. Those are some core things. And you've touched on the concepts. They all are delivered differently. So we have the in-classroom kit-based
Right.
programming, still experiential.
Which real quick, I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt.
please do.
But the reason why I want to interrupt in the classroom is because the last JA day I did, it was all on a virtual board, which was the greatest thing ever,
Oh
Annie.
my
I loved it
gosh.
so much.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a few of those still, so I'm going to be tapping you.
Yeah, I will do those all day long. I don't know, just being able to go in and use that as because I think the one that I did most of it was on, I think, the board, or a lot of it was all virtual.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the whole thing was the last one that I did. And then I did one that was kind of split or something, like a hybrid maybe. Have you seen that those are more effective for the teaching at all? The
It
virtual
really
ones, or?
depends. I think what makes Junior Achievement unique is that we've been around so long and we're such a well-oiled machine in program delivery that we can meet schools in the way that the students are learning. And so if it happens to be a virtual academy, it's very easy for us to deliver that way and prepare volunteers to do so. If they're a low-tech, no-tech school, we have methods to be able to do that. If they're not a school at all and they're a foster care program that's helping students age out, we can partner with them in that way. So we like to say we can meet students where they are and we can be supportive of educators or facilitators to do that.
Yeah. So you have the in-classroom, then what's Finance Part? How's that work?
Well, to that end, so
okay.
Finance Park is here on site as well, just like our BizTown is, where they've learned preparatory curriculum that is a deep dive about personal family finance and understanding budgeting decisions. They come on site to put all those new skills into practice, and they get a fake scenario. They sometimes love or hate their scenario. They might be single with 2 kids. They might be somebody who's has no kids. There's all different scenarios, but also baked into that is some really deep career exploration where they then take what they learned and they model that out in different career fields they might be interested in. They very quickly determine, oh, I love that, but it may not meet the lifestyle I want. So, and we have a version of that we actually take on the road called Money in Motion.
Oh, I've never even heard of it.
Oh,
when
you
did that
haven't?
start?
We launched it about 2 years ago. We're serving almost 10,000 students in rural communities in the state this year.
That's really cool.
So we take the essence of this deep, immersive, experiential learning, and we bring it to the schools who would otherwise not be able to bus here.
Got
and
it.
so this year, I think our team was in every county but one, and that's a holdout. But we just booked something next year in that county.
That is so cool. So it's expanding.
Yeah, so they're on the road 2 weeks out of every month during the school year. They just finished their last one this week, and we already have the whole calendar booked out and a wait list for next year.
That's awesome. So those are programs that are in the K through 12 range. What do you have an example of a program that you've tried to do above that?
Yeah, so we currently partner with Rio Salado Community College, and those are learners who are seeking their graduation equivalent diploma. They're learners who maybe just immigrated here and are trying to figure out how to become eligible for the Arizona workforce. And so they are participating. There's about 5,000 to 6,000, I believe, that are in Rio Salado. We partner with them through our JA Inspire program, which is career readiness and exploration. And we also give them our essential work skills credential. So they basically prove their mastery of effective communication, collaboration, cultural agility, a whole bunch of key skills that if I told you, hey, this candidate has demonstrated mastery, you'd be much more likely to hire them from the get-go.
Well, that's one of the biggest things that being an entrepreneur, I started my first business with my business partner, Coach JV, in 2017. And at the beginning, we were hiring friends and family, and they didn't really have the skill set, right? They had the want and the passion to help. But as we've evolved over these last 9 years, it's really turning into, what are the people that have the skill set and the mastery that we have. For example, one of the people that is a business partner of mine in our business is Dustin. He used to do all of this stuff here with the lights and the microphones, and he had to learn all of it,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
And now he's in a place where he's like, look, I'm not good at, that's not my strong suit, it's not my skill. Let's find someone that has a skill, and that's how we have, found Kelly, so that he can come in and do all of this stuff for us. So the skill set is a really big piece for entrepreneurs, especially as they continue to grow.
And I don't know, I'm fairly confident JA will never be in the place where we're doing the deep individual career specific professional
correct,
skills.
yeah.
But what we are doing is the foundational skills, those
Right.
transferable skills that you have to be successful in any future venture.
Right.
And then we'll partner with the entities who will give them those specific ones.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good.
I mean, I find that a lot of those entities are struggling because they don't have the expertise in this.
They don't have the expertise and the transferable skills.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and that's also a very good point as well. But again, the skill set piece, to your point, Annie, is both of those skills are important, but you're right, because those are also lacking in some of the things that they're learning in the day-to-day at the schools.
Yeah,
Because there's,
absolutely.
I think, being in junior achievement JA days, I don't know how teachers do it every single day. It's the most exhausting thing on the planet. But then they're trying to meet specific criteria for the state or the Fed or whoever.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're missing out on, like you said, some of those other skills, which are helping fill that need. This is a statistic that I found, but I don't know if it's accurate. I'm going to ask you. That found that 90% of JA alumni say the program played an important and positive role in their professional lives.
Yeah.
Is that pretty accurate from people that have gone through the
Oh,
program?
it's absolutely accurate.
Or is it higher? Maybe
It's the career satisfaction that our alumni have is through the roof. Can you imagine if I could tell you, hey, whatever career you go into, you're going to be satisfied? It would have been monumental, right?
Yeah.
And we could have helped steer that for everybody else. You found your way, right? I found my way.
Yeah.
But the students who go through JA are significantly more satisfied. The entrepreneurs who start businesses are generating significantly more in revenue. They're hiring. We have a huge statistic around how many have more than 100 employees. So they're very, very successful in it, and they're satisfied, and they're buying homes earlier, and they're incurring less debt. There myriad outcomes that we can point directly to JA's involvement.
Yeah. So is that the reason why you think that makes the impact stick long for them after the students leave? Like, what do you think it is that a student is involved with this specific organization that they leave, and then they can say, yeah, that played a pivotal role in my life?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the two major components. We're giving them the knowledge and the skills, and we're giving them the belief to tap into that potential, and combining those two things is what makes them successful for the long term. You can give people all the knowledge and skills that you want through traditional education, or maybe not, but whatever if they don't believe that's possible, and similarly, if they believe it, but they don't have what they need to do it. So it's really the combination of those things that I think leads to the success in the long term.
That's awesome. Annie, you've been with Junior Achievement, you said, for 12
years.
What made you want to focus your career here?
I was really, really passionate about making sure that the time that I have here, I'm spending towards making the world better. At the time, I was working for an international organization, and I had just become a mom, and I've been in Arizona my whole life, and I wanted to kind of make sure that I was focusing inward. And so I came over here to help empower the future. And I will say that it wasn't necessarily this particular mission that I was overly passionate about early on. It was about long-term improvement for our community. And I will tell you, after 12 years, I can see that impact daily. I can see how profound it is. I know that in that 12 years, we've served almost 1 million learners who are now, starting to enter the workforce. And I know that we are going to be better for the long term, not just our community as a whole. I know my family will be. I know your family will be, because we empowered students who may not otherwise have gotten access to this. It's so trite, but a rising tide lifts all ships, right? That's what's happening.
Yeah, that's why I think it'd be interesting to find the children that end up staying in their communities where they grew up and being a part of the things that they're learning here. They're going out and then they're having a direct impact on their community, because my guess is it probably is a yes.
Yeah.
Like when I think of myself, my family came here in 1964-ish, I think.
Okay.
I was born here, but my family is from Illinois, and they started Genstar Automotive in Glendale. And so for me, I want my businesses to take place in Glendale, right? So then I'm learning things and I'm giving back to that community. So my thought process is there's probably some data that could point to that it's super beneficial inside the communities from where they came from originally.
Yeah, we've been historically, because we don't track students on an individual student level, it's been hard. But now with the instructional model, I can definitely tell you where will our 3DE students go and what will happen in the future. So we're only a year into that, but I can already tell you when we look at some of the leading outcomes, things like improving graduation rate, improving on track to success to even get to graduation, improving next step, post-secondary, taking those steps in the future. Those are some leading indicators of saying that they're going to be more successful and have more economic opportunity. And we can absolutely track that we're already doing that.
That's really cool. You were recognized as a Phoenix Business Journal Outstanding Woman in Business.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. That's so awesome. How did that come about? Like, did they just find you? Like, do you petition for it?
I mean, I didn't.
But other people,
however,
there's a petitioning process for that. So people went out there.
Yeah, I was nominated
really
for it. It was
cool.
incredibly humbling. And I will say, in many ways, it invigorated me to make sure that I'm doing more to kind of live up to the acknowledgement like that. I'm really proud of the work that we do, but there's so much more we can.
What leadership lessons have shaped you the most?
Two simple ones. One is assume you know less and you'll learn more.
So yeah, it's a very big one for me. I agree with that 100%.
Right? Imposter syndrome, you feel like you got to show up and know it all, and then you just self-limit yourself.
I was going to ask you, did that give you imposter syndrome when you won that award?
Maybe not that. I do think that sometimes I get the benefit of being in some really high-level conversations about system change in education or what it looks like to bring workforce and education together. And sometimes I sit in the room and I think, what am I doing here? And then I have to sit back and say, okay, but JA is doing more in this than most, if not all other organizations, and I get to help steer that. And so I do have that sometimes.
That's cool. And what was the second lesson?
The second is don't overestimate or underestimate how much somebody's invested in their ideas. Really meet them where they are and understand what's motivating those ideas. And even if that's not the direction you go, there's definitely elements you can bring into the fold.
So Chief Operating Officer, that's the second highest in the organization?
Yes, right below our President, Catherine, who's amazing.
So did you think that when you started this 12 years ago, you'd be the second in command, essentially, of the organization?
I mean, I would say I didn't know that I would be here, right? I didn't know that this would be, because I said in the beginning it wasn't particularly this mission, that I was passionate about empowering our community for the future, and that's what we do. And then over time, because I see that exactly what we do, I've become so passionate about it. Maybe I just get my hands in too many things and I poke my head, and maybe that's where ultimately I'm now involved in the entire organization, much to maybe some people's dismay.
That's awesome. So if you could sit every business leader down and talk to them for a few moments, what would you tell them about the students that JA serves and why they should be a part of JA?
I would say the students that we serve, when we just give them the simplest ability to be able to see that potential or give them some of the knowledge and the skills, they go on to do insanely impactful and impressive things. And we're honored to be a part of it. And wouldn't you be honored to be a part of it too? And the workforce issues that we have in our community is not their problem. It's not just an us problem. It's a me problem, or it's a you problem. And there should be a burden of responsibility that we all have to help fix it.
Beautiful. My last question, because I get a lot of angry people at me a lot talking about artificial intelligence. I always bring up artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Where do you see AI as a part of JA utilizing it for business needs, or for nonprofit needs, and then also for AI for the future of training children about it?
Yeah, so we're already doing some stuff related to it. I would make the case everyone has to, because it is the reality of the future, and so we have to adapt to it the same way We all carry those phones around in our hands now, and we didn't, 20 years ago? And so it's important. I use it very, very often within the work that we do. I was just teaching myself how to write an automation the other day to make my life simpler longer term. And we're teaching students how to use it responsibly, how to use it as a thought partner and not in place of thinking, how to use it as really kind of coming alongside them and streamlining things, but really still teaching them critical thinking, still teaching them collaboration and communication, the skills that AI can support but shouldn't replace. And so for the long term, it's going to be part of what we do here, and it's critical that we're teaching students about it and how to do it responsibly and layering it into all those transferable skills we're already focused on.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Annie. I appreciate your time today. Any last thoughts or how can people get involved with Junior Achievement?
I mean, shamelessly, it takes us more than 8,000 volunteers a year. 8,000 Jeremys or 8,000 yous to come deliver
If there was
the programming.
8,000 me's, it would be so loud.
I mean, same for me too. But it's because of volunteers who are making that real world connection back to the students and their learning environment that brings that experiential nature. So we need 8,000 volunteers across the state. We also need more resources because, like I said, we have students waiting in the wings, and we have the hard decision of saying not yet until resources become available. So we're eligible for the charitable tax credit, which is an easy dollar for dollar, nothing out of your pocket. You're going to get it back, and you can make a difference in the lives of many students. So simple, right?
Yep. And where can people online? It's jaaz.org.
.org.
jaaz.org. So make sure that you check that out. Well, Annie, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. This was a great conversation.
Yeah,
and
such a
hopefully we can have another
pleasure.
one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching Age of Jeremy Conversations. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as I always say, be thankful, grateful, and kind. And we'll talk with you guys soon. Bye.